Well, hello everyone. It is 1 p.m. Man, I saw that Chicago had snow today. I believe that's what I heard on the news. But I want to tell you, it is a beautiful day here in sunny Southern California, Los Angeles to be particular. So again, greetings to you, Zion Temple members, as well as our new online family. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, hey Mel, don't forget to say hello and let us know where you're listening from. I want to do something a little bit different today. We're going to be talking about a cure for stress, but I wonder what are some of the things that you're struggling with right now. Go ahead and type those in, some of the things you're struggling with. And while you do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've been feeling lately. It's sort of this invisible tension that I have. Like I told you before, I always go. And so now that I'm forced to stay pretty much at home, it seems like I just have this tension. I need to be outside. I need people around me. And that's not really happening, even though I have my family around me. I need different people around me, more people. So I am learning to adjust to that and to recognize I have to keep telling myself that I am okay, that I don't have to have those things, and to remind myself it's okay to be at home. So those are some of the things that I deal with. Tell me a little bit about some of the things that you deal with right now. You can just go ahead and type those in the comments, and we'll try to come back to them. So in yesterday, just to kind of review, in fact, not just yesterday, but if you're just new and signing in, go back and check us out. We've been doing this for a few weeks now, and you'll find that there will be some videos that will be a blessing to you. Remember, my whole purpose for doing this is to be an encouragement to you, to be, I feel you, Mike. He says, nothing feeling as productive as he thinks. And that's another thing I struggle with. It seems like I don't get anything done. But I do, but it feels like I don't. But I do this. It's really to be an encouragement for you, but not just for you, but to have you be able to share that with others as well and be an encouragement to them. So that's what welcome to BreakTime with Pastor V is all about. So yesterday we kind of looked at what we called your choice, and it was a setting in which Psalm 16, the psalmist who was in this polytheistic world, which is just another word for meaning many gods, he acknowledges that he's made a choice to serve the true God, Jehovah, the God that is, and that God himself is his inheritance and our sustainer. And which the verse 5 of Psalm 16, he says, Lord, you alone are the portion of my cup. You make my lot secure. And so then after he makes that, he prays, he acknowledges that God is his sustainer, that God is his keeper. Then he spends time reflecting and spending time confessing and recognizing of what God is. So there was a pattern. He prays, he chooses God and his system. He recognizes that God himself is his blessing, and then he appreciates and recognizes the things that have come from God, so that everything that he has. Today we're going to look at the same psalm, but we're going to finish it out with verses 7 through 11. Hello to my sister Pat. I see you there. I've asked a question, and you guys can join in if you joined in later. What are some of the things that you're struggling with right now? All righty. What are some of the things that you're struggling with right now? Go ahead and take a little bit of time to type those in. But here I notice in the same Psalm 16, verses 7 through 11, he says, first of all, I will praise the Lord who counsels me. Even at night, my heart instructs me. I keep my eyes always on the Lord. Within my right hand, I will not be shaken. Here's what I see in those two verses. One, the word praise is the word barak. And it means to give praise, but it also means to kneel down, to kneel or to surrender. So watch this. He says, I give praise, I acknowledge it is God, and the result of that is it leads to me receiving direction. And that's what he means. He says, I receive counsel. And I love the fact, he says, I even receive counsel when I'm asleep. That's what he means at night, that God even speaks to my heart while I'm asleep. So one of the things in dealing with stress is begin to offer praise, to put ourselves before God. I see someone says they're dealing with anxiety. And go back, Jennifer, there's a section that we actually did on anxiety as well. I think it was the first one, worry, in the Courageous series, very first one. So it's titled Worry, the Enemy of Courage. So anyway, so praise and surrender leads to receiving direction from God. And then in verse 8, he says, watch this, I keep my eyes always on the Lord or Jehovah. It says, so it's a continued focus, a trust, and a dependency. And he says what that leads to me is not being shaken, is the word he uses. Now, what's inherent in realizing that he's not being shaken, what's inherent in that is a recognition of an external opposition. So the only way he realizes that he's not shaken or he doesn't teeter is the word that's used there in the original language. The word he doesn't teeter is because there's a force that challenges that comes upon him. And so he recognizes that even in that, I'm still consistent. So while for praise and it leads and surrender leads to receiving direction to God, and there's a continued trust, meaning that you have to refocus and refocus and refocus, that there will be opposition. But if we keep our eyes on God, as it says in verse 8, we'll find that we won't be shaken, that we won't give in. Not that there won't be opposition, but that we will be able to sustain the opposition. Then he says in verse 9, so therefore my heart is glad, my tongue rejoices, my body also will rest secure. Wow, here we go. Here's the secrets to dealing with success in here. If we look at verse 9, first of all, he recognizes, he says, hey, my inner man, that's when he says my heart, my inner man is glad, my tongue rejoices, and then the result of that is that my body will rest secure. So watch this. Because he's spending time with God in the previous two verses, he's made this choice of recognizing God. It brings a contentment to the inner man. So if we're going to deal with stress, the first thing we have to deal with is our inner man, to get our inner man right and in the presence of God. And the result of that something begins to happen with what we say, how we speak as well. Now, I'm not talking just about, positive confession. I'm talking about saying the truth about what's going on inside. And he says, and the truth about what's going on inside, it brings my tongue to rejoice. Because my inner man is content, my tongue is speaking the things of God, it brings rest to my body. In other words, I don't stress. Why? Because remember, the whole reward isn't the things that we have, but it's God himself. And because it's God himself, we're in his presence all the time. And so when we recognize that we're in his presence, then it allows us not to stress over things. Doesn't mean that we don't deal with things. It doesn't mean we don't have things happen or we don't face some things. But it does mean that we don't have to stress about them, because at the end, we know that God's got them. And then a big, huge declaration of God's got them are the next two verses. Verse 10 says, because you will not abandon me in the realm of the dead, nor will you let your faithful one see decay. I think in the King James Version, it says, you will not leave my soul in hell, nor will you allow me to decay. This really is a huge confession, and it's really in a reference to Christ himself. And really the whole psalm is an idea of a prayer of Christ and his commitment to God. And you said, well, why Christ? It's showing the human side of Christ. And he was all God and all man at the same time. And if anybody faced a huge dilemma and a very stressful time, it was Jesus Christ. In the Garden of Gethsemane, when they came to take him away, and he knows he's getting ready to die, he knows he's going to be crucified, he made a choice. And he says, Lord, if there's any other way, if I don't have to go through this, do it. Let's find some other way. Sound familiar? If we didn't have to do this, if there was some other way of drawing us closer to God, we can do without this pandemic. Well, maybe that's not you, but that's me. That's what I think. I don't know. What do you think? Do you agree with that? If there was some other way to bring you closer to Christ that wasn't so stressful, that didn't involve, losing money, would you rather do that? If that's you, just give me a high five in the comments section. And so, but he ends up saying, Lord, but you know what? Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And so the last verse, in dealing with the stress, it says that you make known to me the path of life. There's direction again. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasure at your right hand. And so in the presence of the Lord, King James says, there is fullness of joy, meaning complete joy. Now, complete joy doesn't always mean happiness. There's a big difference. Happiness depends on circumstances. Joy is the ability to have peace and confidence in God in the middle of whatever the circumstances are. So whoever, told you Christians don't go through stuff, they lied to you. There is no biblical basis for that, or that you shouldn't struggle. Hey, it's a process in which we learn and the benefit of being in the presence of God. So my brothers and sisters, God bless you again as we deal with the stress by spending time in the presence of God. Get your heart right, your mind right, and speak about what's going on. Talk to somebody. Share what God is doing. Focus on the things that are positive going on in your life, because you got enough of the negative stuff going. For those of you who deal with anxiety, it's called centering, looking at what's really there. And then as you see what's really there, begin to give God praise. And I promise you, as you spend more time with God, his peace will open up. So bless you all. I see that someone says that they're at peace. Let me see if I can go through some of the comments. Scroll back. One person said, the thing that they're dealing with is their children's emotion. They have a senior who's missing prom and graduation and all those activities. Here in Los Angeles, we have what's called grad night, and all seniors go to grad night to Disneyland at nighttime. And then they also have a little boy who's full of energy. I think he's a kinder or first grader. And so managing school for both of them, I can only imagine what that is like. So all I can do is encourage you to spend time in the presence of God and know that it's going to be okay. And just reassure your children that it's going to be okay. Do something fun. If you look at my Facebook page, I got an idea from one of my cousins in Georgia, and we did what we call, our place now is called Rona Resort, the LA location. So we try to do little things and post them and pretend like it's a resort. So you can check my personal Facebook page out for that. And so I guess now I'm not being able to scroll to any more comments. Oh, there we go. Oh, the thought of going back to work is stressing someone way out. They were in an uncomfortable, just a position at their job. So this has sort of been a blessing for them. Just know that God got you through all these years, my sister. He'll get you through the rest. And I know you don't want to go back, but you may not even have to go back. Who knows? So if we just roll with it, you're out now till after summer, and you have some other things happening for you. So my prayer is that God would open up those things. Alrighty, you guys, I see I am out of time. It is 1:14, so we have one more minute. So I just want to thank you for listening in to Break Time with Pastor V. I'll go through the comments and respond to you individually right after this. Also, if you have friends, invite them to listen. Those who are not on Facebook, they can listen to us in YouTube now. Go back, we'll post these things in YouTube, going to youtube.com/C like Charlie /Zion Temple. And that will take them to our page, youtube.com/C /Zion Temple. And finally, tomorrow is Thursday, so there will be no break time with Pastor V. Thursdays is my date day with my wife, and we're going to make that happen somewhere on Rona Resort. We'll find a place to go to. Maybe we'll go down to the pool and hang out there. So bless you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and know that God's got us, and he's the best stress reliever we could ever have. He brings rest. He brings rest as we depend upon him. All righty, y'all. I'll see you Friday, 1 p.m. for Break Time with Pastor V. That's 4 p.m. Eastern. Have a good night.